Hi, I'm Steve Axtell, and I'm here with my buddy Frank Glab. Frank, awesome to see you.
My pleasure.
It was IBM SAM Magic Convention in 2008, where we had a booth set up with Ron Palmer, and we had just come out with our animatronic characters. And Frank stopped by the booth and said, do you mind if I try that? And I showed him this transmitter and showed him how to work a few things, and instantly Frank was off and running.
BCA, get me out of here. I don't belong here. I belong in Costa Rica. That's where I had a good life. I had a wife and eggs in Costa Rica, and now I'm here. How I got here, I'll never know. And we'll see to that part. Something gonna be awesome. So follow these things. I just had the green done, a little highlight.
And he had the place rolling with laughter. And since then, many years later, just a few months ago, or a few weeks ago, we were at the Magic Live convention in Las Vegas, and Frank was there again and blew him away again.
It's everywhere dancing. We'll begin with a spin, traveling through the Jurassic period. What you see will smell worse than your grandma. If you want to smell ancient lands, that's you. Oh, thank you. Where was I? Yes. If you want to smell magic, you close your eyes and see it. Close your eyes
Again, so I wanted to bring him here and talk to you a little bit about the act of improv, and how do you go about bringing these guys to life?
Well, I think first of all, these products are bee's knees the best. You can't buy anything better anywhere else. And, I have a mistake of saying, like when I play the piano, well, the thing practically plays itself. And they don't play themselves. But if you have a bad piano, you're not going to get a good sound out of it. And I think the same is true with these puppets. I mean, just sitting here on this perch, this guy looks alive. He doesn't even have to talk to you. And he's alive. And so all you have to do is give it a voice, and what voice do you see when you look at it? Like when I first came up to this guy, for some reason, I think I was hanging with people from Jersey, and we just had such a good time with them because they didn't realize how funny they were. And so just by doing the Jersey accent with this guy, he instantly came to life and was a character, and people loved him. Because what's funnier than the toucan from Jersey? Nothing, I say, nothing. Look at this. Get me out of here, get me out of here. So they just come to life as soon as you play with them.
Now, you're finding the interface pretty intuitive, obviously, because you haven't really played with it too much. And yet, go through the motions here. I mean, he's got all of the motions.
Yeah, well, as I'm talking here, I'm pressing this down. Very easy. And this one, I can move the head up and down, or side to side. And so if I combine those, he's talking, and these are the wings here, right here. And it's, we say, what? What do you want from me? What? There's nothing I can do. I have no money, no pockets. No pockets means no money. That's all I'm saying.
Are you sure you don't have any pockets around?
Oh, yeah. And then it's come with, but another thing I think that's fun to do is take whatever is, like sometimes when I'm doing this at the convention, people are looking at me.
Yeah.
And I'll have them say, don't look at the big bald man with the remote control. I am my own bird.
And it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
It doesn't matter that you're right there. They stop watching you and they just start watching the bird because it's so alive, so incredibly alive.
And you just get that from, women who are saying, I'm my own woman, whoever their own, just whatever the issues are, just throw them.
So give it different voices just for fun.
Let's see. It's hard to get out of this one because that's how I see him. But the other one, too, is kind of the whiny voice. I think the other thing that's funny about this guy is if he ignores you, like if he's mad at you and he looks away.
Hey, what's the matter? Come here. Talk to me, please.
I don't want you.
Come on. What did I do? I don't think I did anything wrong. Did I offend you in some way?
Perhaps you have. And also, why I really like the birds are my favorite. I mean, I have 2 parrots at home, and when they want something, that is the beg gesture. They flutter their wings like that. Like if you're eating a ham sandwich, they will just stare at you and go, and how can you say no to that face?
Oh, how funny.
I am irresistible. So yeah, the other voices, I came up with the Sid Rosenthal one time. I had a sinus infection and I couldn't talk. And So it was very, very whiny. Oh, my feet. My feet are killing me. Oh, gosh. Oh. Or another funny thing, toucans come from Central America. So, be careful of your political correctness. But I have found, I do a Chinese act that Caucasian people think is horribly politically incorrect
Offensive
and insensitive. Yeah. But the Chinese people love it.
how fun.
And especially the young Chinese guy came up to me and said, "Oh my God, you are just like my uncle who came from
hilarious.
Peking in 19 whatever."
Wow.
So there was almost a sense of home with him for that,
And Pete Michaels has said the same thing about a black character that he does as a ventriloquist, and the black community loves him. The white people think it's offensive.
Right. So you really just have to know your audience, but especially when you can push the limits with this.
No more por la hacienda, Very funny.
So where's the line? How can you work with let's say you're talking about doing a South American character with this? What kind of things can you do, and where shouldn't you go?
Well, for me, I would start with, what are the issues in Latino communities? What's important to Latinos? I mean, I'm a godfather for a Mexican. I'm going to be celebrating her quinceañera soon.
Awesome.
And so, when you're in the community, what's important? Handmade tortillas are important.
Yeah.
Though, of course, the wife never wants to make handmade tortillas. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm starving in this country back home. Handmade tortillas every day. Here, nothing. We've got these terrible tortillas. They're made by the machines. And, the minute you start talking like that, all the Latino men are going to go, yeah, and they start looking at their wife, and then the wife start hating you. Then you have to think about, okay, well, what are the men doing? So now we got to get the wives on our side.
Yeah.
So I think sort of as an equal opportunity, I don't want to say offender, that's too strong of a word, but when you pick issues, first you want to upset this half of the room, and then you want to upset that half of the room, so you're upsetting everybody equally, because if you don't offend anybody, then the act is dull.
Yeah.
But if you can get the Republicans on your side, and get the Democrats on your side, you have everybody on your side, even though you really haven't taken any stance one way or the other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. So any tips for somebody that gets one of these toucans and wants to handle it in the best way possible? Like you've already covered how to move it, which obviously you're doing a great job at. The characterization, how to find a voice, we've covered a little bit. But what about things to talk about? How do you spontaneously come up with things to talk about when you're doing improv?
Well, I think certainly what's topical. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of stuff in the news right now is pretty sad and upsetting. But what's topical? What's the issue of the day? Certainly, whoever hired you has maybe some sort of weird politicking or issues going on at their workplace. Certainly happens.
Right.
Like I did a great short change act in a
Inside
school.
jokes.
So if a short change act is I have 10 singles and then I hand it to you and you count it. Now there's only 9, so you have to put one in. You give it to me. I count it. Now there's only 8. Right. So money is disappearing. Well, I did this at Catholic schools between the principal and the pastor. And people were like, what the heck? They didn't know, should they not trust the principal? Should they not trust the pastor? So, that kind of stuff. When you can, add layers to it where it's funny for everybody watching, but then for the inside group or the people who hired you, it's even funnier.
Yeah.
Certainly layers.
So be familiar with topics on the news, that kind of thing. Be aware of what's going on topically. You can ad-lib on that. If you're performing for a specific group, then no inside jokes, so maybe do some pre-interviews and stuff before you get there.
For sure.
Maybe Google the company and find out what they're...
I have a whole series of questions, like a lot of magicians when they do magic shows for people, they'll ask, who's the birthday kid, what's his age? Well, that's a good place to start, but what does he like? What does he hate? What was the last time he got in trouble? What was the issue? And the toucan could be his partner in crime. Don't tell him. We'll get those cookies later.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
So, because you really want to get on their side, you know them. You almost have to become a member of the family in a second, so you can get in there and then really make them laugh. Because people also aren't going to laugh with you unless they like you. Is it okay to laugh at this guy's jokes?
So when you're doing a routine, do you laugh at your own humor to get the audience laughing at your humor?
I tend to not, because I like the sad clown or the person who is in a predicament. We were just talking about Ant and the Aardvark. Look at old cartoons. You know, when they had to be funny without being vulgar, is brilliant stuff. Ant and the Aardvark, I think, is perfect. This poor Aardvark can't catch this one ant. I need 2,000 ants to make a sandwich. I can't get one. You know, and it's so funny. Like, why doesn't he give up on this ant and go somewhere else? You know,
the voice of this guy.
I don't know. I came here. He glued my feet to this perch. I can't fly. I'm stuck here. I'm a slave of the entertainment industry now. Back home.
Does he pay you well?
He does not pay well. At home, I have a home, a bird, a wife with eggs, and they're all starving to death because I'm stuck here. So I think it's always the person who's stuck in a predicament that you feel sorry for them, and yet their suffering makes you laugh. Yeah. I think that's funny. In a sick sort of way. That's what I find funny. Like, I slipped on a banana peel. That's hysterical if it's not you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right.
Fun stuff. Well, Frank, thanks so much for coming and doing some of this with me, and appreciate you coming and visiting the shop as well.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. If you ever get a chance to check out this place, it is amazing.
This is actor Jonathan Sadowski. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me over.
And he is one of the guys who helps Frank write his shows and stuff. And so, would you interact? Frank's got the controls here off camera, and
pay no attention to the bald guy with the controls. I am my own bird. Thank you very much.
So you can.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from exactly?
I am from Central America.
You don't look very native to Central America.
¿Qué? Hijo de la, claro que sí, yo volé aquí para muchos años antes y nadie me cree. Claro que sí, mírame.
I stand correct. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you do all the hunting in your family, correct?
I do, yes.
What was the biggest worm you ever caught?
The biggest, well, you know, it's a long story. I was flying over the Rio Grande, and I saw this worm under the water, and it was like this big. I was like, I gotta get that.
Wait, it was this big?
This big.
There's no way it was that big.
It was that big. Well, that's what it looked like. See, this is water refraction we're talking about. So, the minute I dove under the water...
You could swim?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Are you telling me a big fish story right now?
What I'm trying to tell you, it's a big worm story. Is the worm looked this big, but when I got under the water, it was teensy, tiny. It was terrible.
So you guys are just vamping here. Now tell me of the techniques, John, because you're an actor.
Yeah.
You're classically trained. Tell us what happens with improv.
My thing with improv is you always got to give the other person something to riff off of. And if that means you're the only person improving, the other person doesn't know they're improving.
Yeah.
Like if I saw you, I can look at your running shoes, and I just know, like running shoes. You know, if I want to bust your chops, you don't look like you ran a day in your life. You know, what are you running from? Oh, you're married. Now I see why you're wearing running shoes. You know, so you find little things that let your mind go. And a big thing too is giving the other person somewhere to go to. So like I heard Frank talking earlier about how the bird is from Central America.
Yeah.
And I know Frank speaks Spanish, so I know it's a gimme if I go.
Open.
Yeah. Where are you from? You can Central America.
Yeah.
You don't look native. It gives Frank a chance to go off.
Fantastic. So what comes to your mind here of the physical appearance of the bird? And
I think it's great. First off, I would make a joke. You know, something more like Central American. But it's all. It's all. I would make some kind of joke about how hairy he was. You know,
big nose.
A big nose. Like you're Central American, you're hairy, and you have a big nose. You're more Italian than me. You know? And then he'd start singing. You know, it's just finding little things that you can riff off of. You know,
oh my God.
I feel like foie gras, like with his feet nailed to the bird.
Oh God, here comes the funnel.
You know the hardest thing about being so hairy? What's that? Not being able to fly. You know, you can't fly without the feathers.
Can't go anywhere with it. Oh, fantastic.
Or you can make a joke about how he's so hairy, and every time he's flying, it always feels like he's in a convertible. You know.
There you go. So flying jokes, even though he's not able to fly, he can talk about flying.
I used to fly when I was young and free in Central America, but now I am permanently glued to this perch. No matter how much velocity I do, I'm stuck.
That could be funny too. He's from Central America, and especially in California with the whole immigration thing. To talk about how he got here, and does he still have family back home? Does he miss his family back home?
I miss my eggs.
Your eggs.
Yes. My wife and my eggs.
Yeah, and you can see. I think the big thing with improv too is getting a feel for the room, like Frank was saying earlier. And if there's certain feeler jokes. You know, you say a joke, you see who laughs. You take it a little farther, you see if they laugh more. Then you maybe not insult them, but kind of like take them down a little bit and watch the other side of the room laugh.
I would like to comment as the bird. I'd like to comment. See, the other nice thing about improv is if I have a script and my script is terrible, and I know that my audience is not going to enjoy this script, and all I have is a script, what am I going to do? I'm stuck with this script. I have nothing else. But if I have improv, the sky is the limit. I can do whatever I want, anytime I want.
Have you been drinking?
It was those crazy colored flowers. But they were delicious.
So if someone called you a bird brain, would you take that as an insult?
You know, I am smarter than most. Put in your least favorite political party.
What? Man. What did I say?
What?
That just gives so much expression,
well, the eyes. Look at the eyes on this thing.
Yeah.
The eyes are great.
And you can even be like,
empathetic.
That one motion, too, with anything like this, in acting as well, certain motions can be so many different things, just based on the vocalization you put with them. So if you have the bird go, what? Or if you have him go, what, you want to go?
Yeah.
Just by intoning it differently, that could be like, do you want to go, then a fight? Or what? What did I do?
I think Jonathan may have been a toucan in a previous life, because he does this better than I do. What?
I taught him everything I know.
Oh, this is great.
But just show him, like, dude, just pretend, like, say what, like, what did I do with him?
What? What did I do? What did I say?
Now say, like, what, you want to go?
What? You want to go? You ready?
It's just little things in voice. Once you get a certain
you want a piece of me?
A certain set of gestures down.
You want a piece of this? Come and get it, baby.
Yeah, I think that the depth in a gesture can completely be changed with vocalization and how you and verbiage. So if you learn a certain set of gestures, your repertoire is so much more vast just by giving it different lines for each gesture.
Well, and it's amazing because he only has 7 movements, and it doesn't appear that there are 7. You literally can emote, and his eyes don't even blink or move, and you don't need it. It completely emotes all the expressions that you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty.
Kiss me, baby. Lay one on this beat.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate
thank you so much
coming and helping out with Frank's
fantastic work
interview.
I'm the star right here. Me. Never mind.
So we want to talk about improv. There's a lot of puppeteers and magicians don't take acting classes, which is a huge mistake. Everybody will say, do you agree that a magician is really an actor playing the role of a magician on stage? And they will say yes. And they say, how many acting classes have you had? And they'll say none. So one of the best places to start is an improv class. Usually improv classes are cheap or even free. And one of the first rules in improv is yes and. And what that means
or
is...
no but.
Well, let's work on one at a time.
No, but...
See, because the minute he says no, it stops our conversation. So if I say, whatever he says to me, I'm going to say yes. And even if I don't like what he said, I say yes, but then I add to it. So, I don't know, improvise with the bird. What should we do? Do something.
Remember that time we went on the roller coaster?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. So now he's got an open door to continue talking about it. Now let's try it the opposite way. Ask him the same question.
Remember that time we went on the roller coaster?
No. It's like it's over. It's like we're dead in the water. We're dead in the water. But like Johnny says, you can also say no, but if you say no, but, you're sort of being aggressive and taking the scene wherever it is you want it to go. And one of the things with improv is you want it to build as an ensemble, so everything goes together where everybody wants it to go.
Yes, but in certain cases, I think with a puppet and you're doing an audience, you are the one improvising, so it should go the way you want to go.
Yes, but I would still say with the puppet, like the best thing, like why does Otto and George work? Otto and George works because he can't control the puppet. The puppet is like out of control. And, and that's a good thing.
You sound a lot like this guy I know named Frank.
Yes, very handsome guy, bald, about this tall.
About this
I
wide.
know what you're talking about. What else about improv? Like a person who never took an acting
some
class.
of the stuff that we do when we're just like sitting around writing jokes is just riffing nonstop. You know, we'll point to a microphone and say we'll just start going. How many different things can we write to make a microphone seem funny? You know, and I mean, improv doesn't necessarily mean just coming up with stuff on the spot. It's having an arsenal ready to use on the spot. You know, Commedia dell'arte, back in the day, they had these things called Lazzi's, where they would have these inside jokes that if something came up in the scene they're doing that they can relate to the inside joke, they'll say it, and the entire scene will go into something they've rehearsed 1,000 times. And I think that goes the same with puppets and stuff like that too. You can have so many different jokes written, and you might be talking to somebody, and they give you an in to use one of your jokes. You can go right into one of your routines.
So many great comedy routines started off as improv. It came off the top of somebody's head, and then they held on to what was good, and then continue to build from that. So also, as you're improving, like, don't judge yourself. Like, there's times to judge and times not to judge. But when you're in that creative mode, just let those ideas flow. There's no bad answer. And then you'll have all of this raw material that you can go through and sift through and pick out what's really funny and what really works for you.
And I think working with friends too is great. Like,
I hate you.
Toucan the evil puppet.
Yes, come to me. Come to me.
How do you feel about red pants, Toucan?
Look at my beak. Look at my vest. I love it. Perfect. The more colors, the better. The problem with you Americans, look at you. Gray and white. Oh, that's real interesting. I have retinas that can see color. You're wearing gray and white. You are not.
I thought birds were colorblind.
You're thinking dogs.
Where did you study?
I studied at the Commedia dell'arte de los Cales de los Ojos Maradas Heridos de las Montañas Maria in England. It's true. It's true. You didn't know they had that. I can do British accents, Cockney accents, whatever you want, baby, I got it.
I want to hear your Indian accent.
I don't know what you're trying to say to me, but there are no toucans in India. I left India many years ago, me and my people, because the cows had all of the markets all sewn up. There was no room for a toucan in India. So I went all the way, flew across the Pacific Ocean, and I ended up, you know where? Central America. And I'm very happy now because I don't have to wear that dumb dot. I scratched off my dot, and guess what? I did not even win a prize. It was terrible, terrible. But now I'm where I am, and I'm very happy there, very happy. Driving cab.
There is absolutely no end to this. I can tell this is going to not
We'll be
end.
here for
It will be
hours.
forever. And you can see you can do that with improv. Thanks so much, Frank Lev.
Thank you. Thank
Jonathan
you.
Sadowski.
Thank you very much, bud.
Appreciate it.